It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccerphiles Canada. Welcome to Series 31, looking at the players of the 2025 African Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Cameroon. Part 1, the candidates. Here we go! Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccerphiles Canada. I'm Kevin and this is Series 31 on the players of the 2025 African Cup. This episode covers Cameroon's players. Okay, so we move on to Section 3. And in Section 3, we want to welcome new listeners who are just listening to the short version, which we're releasing on Part 1 of Cameroon's players. So we're just after finishing Section 2 in the full version, where we introduced the candidates, their likelihood of making the final squad, the reasons why we think they're at the level they're at, and a bit of career information, especially on the main players. So if you're interested in that, that's what the full version is all about. But if you're just interested in knowing the names and their likelihood, you've come to the right place. We're not predicting starters here, but we will go over the likely candidates for the squad. So we have manager David Pagou coming in right at the end in December. Mark Brice released or fired. I don't know if we said. Anyway, Mark Brice, the Belgian manager, out after they lost that World Cup qualifying playoff match. So it'll be interesting to see. It may mean that everything we've predicted here or everything we've suggested here changes under the new manager. But what we have here is based on what we've seen over the last couple of years. So for goalkeepers, we have two definite candidates, Simon Omosola and Andre Onana. No candidates at the likely level, and two possible candidates, Davis Ipasi and then Simon Ungabandu Anduentbu. I've said it better during the main podcast. I've lost my touch now. Anyway, those are the goalkeeping candidates. Moving on to central defence, we have no one at the definite level, but three candidates at the likely level: Michael Ngadjui, Jean-Charles Castelletto, and Christopher Wood. And then three at the possible level: Enzo Boyomo, he's the most promising of them, Junior Koto Samuel, and Guy Marcelin Kilama. We're not going to mention candidates below that level, but in part 2, if they are selected for the squad, we will, focus on them a bit more. Left backs, we have a definite candidate in Nuhu Tolo, and then a likely candidate in Mahamadou Abubakar Nagida. Here I will mention the possible but unlikely candidate because he was a starter in the last African Cup, Darlin Yonghwa, but seems unlikely given his participation over the last 2 years. At the right back, we have newcomer Jackson Chachua as a definite candidate there. And then none at the likely level, but three at the possible level: Malcolm Bokele, Junior Chamadu, and Joyskin Dawa. Moving on to the defensive midfield then. We actually have a versatile midfielder, probably a central midfielder here, Andre Zambo Anguissa. He's at the likely level there. And then to players coded as defensive midfielders, none at the definite level, but two at the likely level. Martin Hongla making a comeback into the team, and newcomer Carlos Baliba. And then we have two candidates at the possible level, Ivan Nayu and Willity Yunusa. Central midfielders, we have a likely candidate in newcomer Arthur Avom, sometimes called Arthur Ebong, and then a possible candidate in Jean Onana. Two players off the squad there are Olivier Kemen and Olivier Ncham. Both of those were starters in the last African Cup, but seemingly off the squad now. But under the new manager, players like this may come back into the picture. We have one player coded as a right midfielder. No, he's at the possible but unlikely level. We're going to skip that and go on to upfield to the attacking midfield. We look at left attackers here, none at the definite level, but two at the likely level. Georges Kevin Nkudu, he was the starter in the last cup, and Christian Basagol coming back into the team. On the right side, right attacker, Brian Mbumo is a definite candidate. He was for the last cup too, but he was injured for it, so they would love to have him back in a tournament. Brian Mbumo then at the definite level. Two possible candidates, Patrick Soko and Nathan Ngumu. And then players coded as central attackers. Eric Maxing Choupo-Moting coming back into the team just for one start over this period. And then Danny Namaso, somewhat promising candidate there. Both of those at the possible level. For secondary strikers, no, we move on to forwards, and we begin with definite candidate Vincent Abubakar, still going strong at 33 years old, played a lot during this period. Three likely candidates, Frank Magri, Mumu Ngamalu, and newcomer Carl Etta-Eong. Okay, that is our list. So we will move on to a couple of other orders of business here, beginning with big names off the squad. Well, we'll begin with manager Rigobert Song. He was the manager during the previous African Cup, but he was let go. Again, I don't know if it was fired or exactly how it went, but no longer part of the squad. He was let go after that cup. In came manager Mark Breeze, I think it's Brys, maybe pronounced Bryce. The Belgian manager took over after the previous African Cup and managed them all the way up until December of this year, and then they let him go after he lost the World Cup 2026 qualifying playoff match against Congo DR, and that leaves them with a manager just coming in who may make big changes to the squad. Next, we have goalkeeper Fabrice Ondoa. Actually started 3 of the 4 games in the last African Cup, but not called up after that. A bit of a surprise there. We have Pierre Koundé. He has 44 caps for the national team, not a huge name for them. He wasn't selected for the last African Cup, but did come back after that to play a few games. Last appeared in October of 2024. With the exact same number of caps, Clinton Njayi, 44 caps for the national team, so not a giant for them, but he was on the squad for the last African Cup, but that was his last appearance for the national team. And Carl Toko Ekambi, maybe the biggest surprise, at least to me here. He was a starter in the last African Cup, 61 caps for the national team, so a veteran, and not called up since the Cup, the last African Cup in January of 2024. I'm just looking at the ages of these players. I'll go over them quickly. Koundé, 30 years old. Njayi, 32. Toko Ekambi, 33 years old. And Ondoa, 30 years old. So they're all in their 30s, but young enough that they could be recalled to the squad and might be under the new manager, because we're expecting some changes there. Let's go on to injuries, and we begin with right back Joyce Kim Dawa. He is out with torn knee ligaments, long-term injury there. that started back in March of 2024, and he still isn't recovered. Is expected back, but not until January 10th, 2026. So that's too late, and we'll put him out of contention. Next, probably the biggest one, Andre Frank Zamboanguissa. He is out with a hamstring injury since late November, not expected back until February 16th of 2026. So he is also out of contention there. He was a likely candidate for us here. Next, central midfielder Gene Onana, out with muscular problems for the November playoff match there, but he was on the bench for his team even before the end of November. So Gene Onana, will put him in the recovered category. He's just a possible candidate. Also possible candidate is right attacking midfielder Nathan Ngumu, and he is out with his third injury since October 2024. This is an Achilles tendon rupture, a long-term injury from mid-April 2025. Poor fellow, but not expected back until December 31st, 2025. So that's a bit after the tournament, 10 days after the tournament begins. Cameroon probably plays their first game around Christmas Day. He's only a possible candidate. I really doubt it, but we'll say close call for him. And finally, forward Ignatius Ganago, and he is out with a calf injury from mid-September. I do have some indication that he recovered, but he's still on the injured list with an unknown return date. So perhaps we can update that in part 2. For now, we'll put him in the unknown category. Closing thoughts. Well, I'll make it snappy here because I've been mentioning it throughout, but a new manager coming in December. This manager brought in to kind of really clean up the disciplinary and political situation, a lot of infighting and fracturing in the squad. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see some changes if any of the players are kind of causing trouble. I can't help but think of Andre Onana, who had fights or, kind of battled with Rigobert Song. Even though Song is gone, players like that may not be selected. So I am expecting to see some changes even to what we predicted here, but we'll have to see, and that's what part 2 is all about. So that brings us nicely into previewing part 2, which we're going to release when the preliminary and final squads are selected. We'll be able to tell you who made it and who didn't. We'll focus on any notable non-selections, any surprise inclusions, and any new players. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit busy for the Cameroon squad on those fronts. We'll also update any injuries, and in part 2, the difficult task of predicting starters for Cameroon, but at least we have one game in November where we can look at the starting lineup, because that was an important game. Well, it was under the old manager, so it may not matter that much. Anyway, we'll do our best in part 2 on the Spotlight Review where we predict starters. Meanwhile, that brings us to the end of our mediacast here, so stay tuned for part 2. We would like to thank Pixabay and Cold Fingers for the wonderful music used in this mediacast. The title of the piece is Eid Mubarak.